Hello, everyone. How cool was that? Had a little bit of fun before setting up, and I'm sorry I didn't start 10 minutes early because having lots of technical difficulties over here, but as long as that countdown was worth it for you all. Quickly, just want to say hello to Blake, Lazarus, Kylie, KG, Shep, how you going? And the other Blake and Craig. Hope you're all doing well. Really excited to have a chat with Paul tonight. For those that don't know, I only briefly got to meet Paul at the Underwater Pet Expo. We had a quick little chat on a live stream that we did there, and then I chased him around the building to try and get an autograph for Thirsty Rabbit for the rest of the day. Hey, Zane, how you doing? So we won't waste any more time. Let's bring Paul up and say hello. Paul, how you going?
Very well.
That's great. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
I was just saying to Paul, everyone, that you're still at work. There's no rest for the wicked. You're always working this late. You're always working this late, yeah?
Very common.
No, I suppose surrounded by those awesome tanks, I'd probably find excuses to work back late. All right, so the Aquamate experience, sort of the whole idea behind this series, this is like episode 18, which is crazy because the first episode I did was with Sam Parker and a few other Aussies, and it's sort of just evolving, which has been really great to hear everyone's stories about how they got into the hobby in the first place. Were they at a young age as kids? Did they grow up in the industry? Where does everything sort of start for you in your fish keeping journey?
Well, when I was born, my mother and my father worked for Castlemaine Perkins, which is 4X beer, and they worked together. And the thing that they had in common that sort of got them talking was Oscars, because my mum had a 4-foot fish tank with a pair of large red Oscars, and my dad had a 4-foot fish tank with a pair of large tiger Oscars. And so that was, one of their conversation points. And so then they got together, and then the Oscars ended up actually living together, believe it or not, in the same 4-foot fish tank, divided down the center with 4 full-grown Oscars in it. And then as I was growing up as a kid, I always remember my auntie's fish tank that was underneath her staircase. That was the highlight of my visits to my auntie. My nan had fish. My pop had a beautiful fish pond with Jaws, the goldfish that we'd get to go and feed. And
Love the name.
So there's always been fish in my family since before I was in my family. And then I got my first actual fish. I think I was in grade 4, and we went to the markets, and I'd managed to persuade my parents to buy me a little 2-foot fish tank with a couple of goldfish in it. And that was Billy Button and Ralph. And Ralph standard for Radical Aquatic Life Form. And Ralph, unfortunately, stuck his head in a shell and got stuck. And so I'd had him for a period of months until Ralph decided to explore a shell that he couldn't get his head out of.
Oh
And
no.
then Billy Button lived for a little bit without Ralph, and then he jumped out. But the thing is that when Ralph jumped out, when Billy Button jumped out, I couldn't find him anywhere. So then I bring the cat in, and the cat scraped around underneath the drawer that they were living on and ate him. So that was my first experience with my own fish. And then I remember I got on my push bike and rode to an aquarium shop at the time that was at Padstow in Sydney. And I bought 2 fantail goldfish and rode back to where I lived, a couple of hours ride. And they were my second lot of goldfish. And then from there, I think I fell victim to St. George Aquariums' little game, which used to be sell everyone a female pregnant molly. And then, of course, that bred. And then I thought I was a fish breeder, so I was very excited about that. And then I got another fish tank, and then I think I got some crebensis. And then I bred them, and I thought I was quite the man by about grade 5. And then, I went through it. Then I bred convict cichlids. Then I bred blue acaras. And I pretty much I've been keeping fish ever since. So I think I started keeping my own fish in about grade 4.
Yep.
And then at 12 years old, I decided that I was going to become a rock star. And then instead of spending all my money on drugs, I was going to buy an aquarium shop. And then, so I'd been through the Australian Institute of Music, became a qualified musician. Never made a single cent out of music.
I think that's a lie. That's a lie. You must be making some videos, some money out of the base playing videos on the channel.
Yeah, well, I could save up and buy an ice block. But anyway. So I've had a good time, toured all around the place in various bands that I've been in, and then and I started working at St. George Aquariums when I was 17, and I sort of thought, I'll start, while I'm pursuing my goal of becoming a rock star, I would start at the aquarium shop, start learning some stuff. But then it became apparent pretty quickly that the knowledge that I had back in those days, and I'm talking about a 17-year-old, was pretty phenomenal, because I used to go to the library and borrow books, and then I'd read the whole book. I'd take notes on the book, and then take notes on the notes, so I actually would memorize books. That's an uncomprehendable thing now, considering how much resource we have available to us. And then when new books came out, I'd save up and buy them, because a lot of the books that we were looking at back in those days, they were very expensive. So I'd work at the aquarium shop. When a new book would come out, I'd buy it, then I'd study it. And especially when the Ad Connings books started coming out, early 90s. Julian Sprung's books came out, early 90s. A lot of books sort of like revolutionized what we knew about fish, because the way I learned about fish, besides what you'd learn in the library or what was available back in those days, was you would keep it and it would work or it didn't work, and then you'd sort of try to figure out why it didn't work. And you couldn't go to the shop, and there wasn't the resources back then, and there just wasn't the knowledge back then. Like, you couldn't just go to the shop and there's some dude who just tells you everything you need to know. They're just like, oh, my fish died, and they go, oh, that's a shame. Which one would you like next? We just didn't know that sort of thing. So then I started breeding a lot of fish, because people could keep freshwater fish, fair enough. And then I started breeding a lot of freshwater fish, and then I'd sell them to all the shops. And it got to the point where at every shop I had so much credit, because they never want to give you any cash. You rock up with 40 crebensis, they're pretty happy to give you $40 credit, we go asking for cash, and they're like, no, we don't want them that much. And then I found that I had all this credit at all the shops around Sydney. And then I used to do it when I was at school. I'd like convince some of my friends to get a fish tank, and then I'd get their parents to pay me the cash, and I'd use my credit to get the fish tank. So at my school, at Menai High, there was actually a recognised fish nerds gang. So, you know, there's the basketball nerds, and there's the library nerds, and there's the you know, the handball players and the whatever. And then there was like the fish nerds that were like a recognised gang that we all hung out together and talked about fish. And if you didn't want to talk about fish, then you're in the wrong crowd. And so I sort of enjoyed that at school. And then I started working at St George Aquariums when I was 17, and I really enjoyed it. And I built up a very quick following because, like, once again, let's say by the time I was 19, now I've been working there for a couple of years, it would literally be like, because I had a very good customer base that I looked after, it literally got to the point where for me to serve you, you would go down the front and pick a number, and then you get wait to get served, because the resource of knowledge back in those days just wasn't really what it is now. So then, because I'd read so much and kept a lot of fish and had a lot of experience, at that time, that didn't seem to be common. And once again, there wasn't the resource available back in those days that there is now. And then I sort of got to the point where I had so much credit with all the shops, then I started keeping saltwater, because I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what to do with all this credit. I already got 17 fish tanks, because at my parents' house, I had a big rumpus room. That's where I had my band stuff, my drum kits, and all that sort of stuff. And then all the walls were just surrounded with fish tanks. And then I started keeping saltwater, and I'd like get 3 corals. Like if I wanted a leather coral, I'd buy 3 of them. And I sort of learned that if I put one in the middle, one at the top, and one at the bottom, one of them's probably going to live. And then I'd grow one, and I'd sort of slowly figure out. And I sort of got to the point where I sort of I understood my limitations, and I understood what I could do with my tanks. And then once I started working in the industry and I could bring that knowledge to people, it was the whole idea that something doesn't just die was like pretty profound, you know, like we're talking late 90s now. So somebody comes in, they got a problem. I sort of could analyze what their problem was. It's either nutrients, it's water quality, it's whatever. Then I could send them out, and then they'd come back and go, hey, you know, I did this, and then it's good now, like it's working. And so I really, really enjoyed like being able to provide that service to people. And especially back in those days, that was a pretty awesome thing, because that really wasn't my experience. I go to the aquarium shop, tell them my fish died, they go, oh, then I do a water change to start again.
Yeah.
And so then I started, then I guess it was in 1999, and my dad actually, I've been working at St George Aquariums now for about 5 years. By the time I left St George Aquariums, we totally overhauled the saltwater system. It was a great shop. We had every single cichlid available in Australia in that shop at any one time. It was really an awesome shop. And then my dad said to me, hey, look, you've been working there for 5 years. Why don't you go to work, ask your boss where you're going to be in the next 5 years. And anyway, sure enough, I ended up starting my own business, because I ended up coming home to him and saying, well, that didn't go so well. And I then he announced to me that he'd recently sold an investment property. So he had some money, and he said, well, let's start an aquarium shop. And I'm like, all right, well, this is about 10 years early as far as my plan was concerned.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping to just go and be a rock star. But he seemed to have the foresight to realize that there's no way that was going to happen. And So he gave me the opportunity to start my own shop by lending me some money. And then I started up with a business partner. And within a short period of time, I'd lost all of his money. And I had huge debts just due to inexperience and
just with the
a whole
business
bunch of
side.
factors. Then I built it back up again. So from where I had no credit with anyone, I owed everyone maximum money. Then I built the business back up again. Then I did a job for a client that was meant to go on. I'd met with the client. It was meant to go on the reinforced floors. That flooring guy didn't end up getting the job, and just any old guy got the job. The tank ended up going on floating floors, and the tank ended up cracking, which is an issue when it's a 38-foot tank. And my quote says on the bottom that if it's not paid in full, it's my property. So therefore it was my property, therefore it didn't come under his insurance, it came under my insurance. And my insurance would cover the damage to his property, not to my tank.
Not to what you lost.
So when you've got a 38-foot fish tank, you're talking about massive amounts of money that went into that tank, which was not clamped. It was like, so I ended up going completely broke again. And anyway, various other things have happened, including people ripping me off, which have been a rags to riches story multiple times. But basically, the only thing that I've really figured out how to do is just keep on going. Because one thing about business is you can be in a good position and you can think, oh man, I'm sorting stuff out, this is good. And then something can go wrong. And maybe due to your fault or your inexperience or your lack of planning, or maybe, stuff just creeps up and bites you. And the one thing that I've always known how to do is just keep on going. So, and just try not to think too much about where you fail. You just got to go, all right, well, that sort of sucked. But you've got to use whatever opportunity you've got, just keep going and keep going and keep going. So the aquarium industry has been a real roller coaster. I think anyone that's got a shop would probably agree. Because, there's times when everyone seems to want a fish tank, and then there's times when, the phone is ringing, people seem to want to get rid of their tank more than they're wanting to buy a tank. And they ring up, hey, do you want to buy my tank? I'm like, no, definitely don't want to buy your tank. Right now is a good time, though, because it's definitely one of those things that people definitely go through phases. And then people get a fish tank, and then they get 2 fish tanks, and they get 3 fish tanks, and they get 4 fish tanks, and they get 10 fish tanks, and then they get the shits and get rid of all their fish tanks. But I think that now is probably the best time the aquarium industry has ever seen, and that's because people care a lot more about their fish. People have a lot more access to information now. You don't get people to come in anymore that are like, oh, I got friends coming over on Friday night, I need 15 fish for my saltwater tank. And you're like, nah, man, you're going to kill all those fish, and you know that you're not going to sell it to them, they're going to go up the road and buy it. So, like, the whole mentality of who a customer is now is really awesome, because the whole, I keep a fish because I want a fish to swim around and look at, whereas now that just doesn't exist. People keep fish now because they want to have a fish tank, and there's so much availability of information, and people, they really want their fish to live. And people, if they lose a fish, it's like a major problem to them now, which is, it's just awesome, you know what I mean? So I've been on a hell of a journey in this industry. And so I've been in this industry since, I think I started in the aquarium industry in about 1994 or something like that. And then before that, I used to breed myself, and I used to sell to the aquarium industry. So I was a breeder before then. So I probably began breeding around maybe 12. and I just can't imagine my life without, fish and music. Pretty much just what I've always loved, and so over the years I've got pretty good at it, just purely by sticking with it.
No, I'm the same. It's been fish and music with me as well. I was in bands in high school, and yeah, probably similar age when I first got a fish tank. Finally nagged my dad and said, "Come on, you always told me how you kept fish, so let me try and keep some fish as well." You're so right. I remember back probably, so it would have been mid '90s, early '90s. You go to a fish store and there would be you'd wait for that one person. He knows my situation. He knows I bought these fish last time. Something went wrong. I'll wait half an hour for them to finish with someone else. And we're talking about this the other day, myself, and Blake's Aquatics and Otter Creek Aquatics over in Indiana, about how different the internet has made the hobby, not just necessarily like YouTube and stuff, but that you can get that information and you can buy fish online and that sort of thing. Because how do you see like the online side of the shop?
Well, our shop actually only has a relatively small online shop.
Is it just the corals?
No. I mean, like we've sort of varied our focus online, but Majestic Aquariums is really, well, our slogan is sort of like it's all about the experience. So we've really focused on the store itself and the experience that someone has coming in the store. Like our display tanks are amazing. We're the only people around with like a 20,000 litre shark tank. We've got beautiful coral reef tanks. We've got, so when you walk into this shop, it really is, even if you don't have a fish tank, you can really enjoy this experience.
Just on that, let me go back. This is where we were talking to you about before. It seems like, as you said, it's the experience. I'm going to put a video up that Paul made July 26th, so like a month ago. Just a bit of an update on the shop. I've muted everything so you and I can talk over the top of it. But I just thought it'd be fun to share with people that haven't seen the shop, because I live in Melbourne, so I haven't been there. And I know that next time I'm in Sydney, South Sydney, Southwest?
South.
Is that where you are? South?
South, yeah, just straight. If you can always, it's straight south from the airport.
Well, there you go. I'll head south as well. So this is a video from your channel, but one of the this is so everyone can see what's going on here. But one thing you did mention a few times in this was obviously with coronavirus around, that it's harder to get stock at the moment. So you did say that about a couple of things about supplies, but that you're in a warehouse. Is that a common thing in Sydney? There's only a few aquariums down here that I know of that sort of have that warehouse set up, but I really like it.
Well, when I did it, it was I'd never seen it before. Like we opened this shop we started the shop in 1999, and pretty much no one did warehouses back in those days. And even now, it's definitely not common. I mean, there's certainly other shops that are in warehouses. But the main thing that I was looking for when we took on this location was parking, because it was really important to me that someone could rock up the front and be able to park. And so this area that I'm in is what's called a bulky goods area. So it isn't sort of like just straight retail zoning. It's just for bulky goods. So a lot of those laws are a lot more relaxed than what they used to be. It used to be very strict on what shops you could have where.
Okay.
And it's just really been a great location for us because of the size. Like, it's a very big shop. Like, we've got like 500 square meters. And the fact that you can just park out the front is a really big thing. We've got a lot of parking here. Because the previous shop that I worked at, St. George, awesome shop, but customers would literally have to drive around the block a few times.
Yeah.
Often until they found a park.
That's common here as well.
So that's why this spot's just been such a good spot. The thing that sucks though is how much rent's gone up. Like I'm paying
Okay.
like four times more rent than I did when I started.
So how long have you been at this shop?
Well, this is where I opened in here in 1999.
Oh, okay.
So I've
Yeah,
been in the
that's
same location
decent growth.
for
And what's
21
the
years.
price of a neon tetra gone up since 1999?
Well, I mean, a standard price for a neon tetra would be probably just over $2. And back in those days, they were probably $1.50. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of fish have not really gone up as much as you'd think they should. I mean, with a lot of the saltwater fish recently, since COVID, there's certainly been some price increases. But I
Okay.
mean, since the St. George days, a lot of the imported fish actually have gone down in price because of competition. So I mean, like we used to sell yellow tanks for like $300 each. Then at one stage they were like $120 each. I mean, now due to COVID, the prices are anyone's guess, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, as you were saying before, when someone now loses a fish, it's not just like, oh, I'll just go down and buy another one. I've just got my first saltwater tank about 4 months ago, and I had a pair of clowns in there, and I've been searching for the right lid, but I've taken my sweet ass time and ended up finding a clown on the floor, and like I was just devastated because to me it's the first time I got saltwater fish, and I've been keeping fish for so long, but they were so personable. Like, I don't know, they look like there's some fish that I can refer to as water puppies. So I had to do this in two videos. Otherwise, it wasn't going to work. So there's the second part. But yes, so when you said that before, I was right with you. But that was the other thing. So then you learn from your lessons. Then you move on, and then you go, all right, I'm rearmed, I'm equipped, I know what went wrong. I'll try this again. But then coronavirus has been around, and haven't been seeing new stock in shops for a long time. And now in Melbourne, you really shouldn't be shopping. You're only going there to get salt water and fish food.
Yep.
So this is the tropical community section. Can you see it?
Definitely managed to get more stock than there was in that video, but that's all good.
Yeah. Can you see this video?
Yeah, I can see the shark at the moment swimming past. It says the groper.
So this is a 20,000 litre tank. How do you make a 20,000 litre tank?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is when I went to build it, I had to fight with everyone. Like, everyone involved in the business is just going, you're an idiot. It's just way too big. And now I'll sit here and say that it's too small. So it's just over 7 meters long. It's 2.2 meters high and 2.2 meters wide. It's just basically a big steel frame. If you actually go on the channel Majestic Aquariums TV and then hit Building a Dream in the search, then you'll see step by step I documented how we built it. So you can actually watch a video that shows you it coming together. But it's basically a big steel frame. And then then we did all the timber work. Then we did all the fiberglassing. Then we put the glass sheets in. Then we did all the trimming, did all the plumbing, put all the filtration, did all the lighting, the electrical.
What was this, Jesse? What was it? What, Jesse's Reef TV? Is that what you said it was?
No, Majestic Aquariums TV.
Majestic. I was like, why wouldn't it be on your channel in my head? I just heard it wrong. Perfect. I'm going to have a look for that.
Yeah, so it shows you it all coming together. And I built it with the delusion of spending $25,000, and I probably spent over $125,000 to build the tank.
So why did you do that? Why did you build such a massive tank?
You know what they say about people with big fish tanks? Just compensating for other issues that I'm lacking.
All right, hang on. Here we go.
It's obvious, isn't it? I don't know. I just think it's the person with the biggest fish tank wins. It's a competition, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Some.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
What did you say it was called? So if I want to link it for everyone so they can have a look.
Building a Dream. If you go to
Building a
Majestic
Dream.
Aquariums TV, and if you hit in the search bar Building a Dream, then you'll see a video where I've sort of documented the whole build of the tank.
With the shark on the, yeah, there it is. Here we go. I'll check this out. Thirsty Rabbit's in the chat and wants to ask, is the shark tank dirty yet? Can you come down and clean it?
He can clean it whenever he wants. Like, it's not dirty, but you can clean it. That's welcome. And I think he said he wants to do it naked too, so that'd be pretty funny.
Oh, don't tempt. I know him. I don't tempt him. He will. So everyone, I've just put a link there. So click on it and then pause it and then go check it out after this chat with Paul. And then, yes, you have your own fishbowl on top of the aquarium for you to be able to observe everybody. Is that right?
Yep.
We had that at school in the gym. The teachers they called it the fishbowl so they could see when we were doing the wrong thing all the time. No, it's a fantastic store. I definitely can't wait to get up there when all this is over and we're allowed to travel and everything. So YouTube, your story fascinates me and it just makes so much sense. But you're sort of a pioneer of this whole let's film fish thing. Just for those in the chat, can you break down how did you come about ending up on YouTube? But you started way before YouTube started, didn't you?
Yeah, so basically about 1998, I sort of just got sick of saying the same thing, like, because it sort of got to the point where I had a start, middle, and end spiel for every single thing that I needed to say in my day. And then one day I was just like, I'm just sick of, like, I need a holiday, I'm sick of the sound of my own voice, like I just over it. And then I came up with the idea of videoing me so I didn't need to keep saying it. So I basically got this guy to video, and so I released a video which was called Your Instructional Reef Aquarium Guide. I think that was released in 1998, and it was basically just, all right, get a video and I'm going to talk about fish. So then he just got the video and I talked about fish. It went for like an hour and a half. Yeah. And it's just completely non-scripted. It's just like, all right, go. All right. And then I just talked about, started with this and then went to that and then went to this and went to that and sort of went through each facet of keeping a reef aquarium. And you can still see that video. So if you go onto Majestic Aquariums TV and then you write Your Instructional Reef Aquarium Guide, that was a VHS video. And then I released a VHS
What's that?
video.
Never heard of those.
Maybe.
Betamax VHS.
So it was a VHS video.
Yep.
And then I had one on cichlids, and it sold so well. Like, I mean, nobody had ever heard of a fish video. It just wasn't a thing.
Where do you sell them?
Well, this video was just sold at Majestic Aquariums because I made it in 1998, released it in probably 1999. So when the shop opened, I was just selling so many of these videos. Like everyone that walked in the store, because I already had a big customer base from St. George. And then when I started Majestic and I released the video, it was just massive. Like, I think from my memory, they cost me $7 to produce, and I was selling them for like $50. So like every person, I mean, like I'd sell more than 10 a day. Then I end up teaming up with Matt Coble, who was from Channel 9, and then he bought the video and he's like, oh man, this is unreal. Like, I've always wanted to have a saltwater fish tank, but I just didn't know how to look after it and can't be bothered reading a book. So then he said, well, how about we start making this is about when DVDs came out, because when the VHS was released, then DVD became the big thing. And then Matt came up to me and said, hey, look, why don't we do this again, but we'll do it for DVD. I'm like, oh wow, that's like heaps cool. You have
That's
chapters and all sorts of
futuristic.
cool stuff. It's like interactive. Anyway, then we produced a whole DVD series. We did Your Instructional Marine Aquarium Guide, which has got 2 discs. Your Instructional Aquarium and Pond Guide. Your Instructional Tropical Fish Guide. Your Instructional Cichlid Aquarium Guide. We had a whole bunch of releases, and you can watch all of them now for free on YouTube. So at Majestic Aquariums TV on YouTube, if you just write in Your Instructional, and it'll come up with all the different videos. You can watch the whole thing now.
That's awesome.
And then after that, I started doing a lot of corporate stuff. So I was doing videos for JBL, videos for Aqua One, videos for Red Sea, videos for Two Little Fishes, videos for like, you know, all different brands. And then that was okay for a while. And then the DVDs at this point I was selling all around the world. So right across Germany, America, Europe, New Zealand, Australia, and then so we had distributors in different countries. And what we basically found is that when there was a major trade show, then we would go to the trade show and we would meet up with the distributor and we'd have a big TV playing, and then we'd sell the DVDs to the other shops to get them to sell the DVDs. And we found that what was really popular is we do tours. So let's say that the trade show is on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I might fly into the city like Chicago or, you know, London or whatever. I'd fly in on like a Monday, and then we'd go to a shop on Monday and we'd do a seminar. So we'd do a seminar and promote the DVD. And then because nobody had ever heard of a fish seminar back in those days, so then the shop would promote to everyone, hey, look, buy this DVD and then come and watch the seminar type thing. And people just loved it because that was just unheard of back in those days. And then we'd get quite often really good crowds. And because they'd have a poster on the wall and the dude's already bought my DVD, so I've been on their TV. And as far as they're concerned, that was like, you know, and they'd come to the seminar and they'd really enjoy the seminar. And then there are a lot of like closet fish freaks that just can't wait to talk about fish. And there wasn't the internet, you know, so they'd just be pissing off all their friends talking about fish. And
That is, yep.
it was much harder for them to sort of to find someone to hear about their fish. And then these events that we were putting on were like so popular because people would come and they're just so excited to hear about fish and talk about fish and ask questions about fish. And so we pretty much traveled around the world just doing these seminars, promoting the DVDs until the GFC hit. Because when the GFC hit, I was like living the best lifestyle because we were selling like over 100,000 DVDs a year. We were making heaps of money. And then we were getting like me and Matt, we were like staying at the Hilton, getting drunk every single night because what we do is we go, like it was like rock star life.
I was gonna say you became a rock star of the fish.
I'm a big rock star. And then, so what I'd do is I'd go to the shop usually around 4:00. I'd meet with the staff. I'd do any troubleshooting with their systems to help them with their dead fish or whatever problems they've got. Then the seminar would be generally around 6 or 7. And then at 9:00, generally the managers would take the staff out and take me out for dinner. I'd effectively end up drunk. And then about maybe 2 or 3 o'clock the next morning, I'd rock in from whatever, you know, craziness has gone on the night before, get a bit of sleep, get up late in the afternoon and go again. So like I was doing that like 3 months a year and just seeing the whole world. I mean, all around the world until the GFC. And then it stopped dead. So literally the DVDs that we're giving away today, because DVDs are valueless now, are the same DVDs that we had in stock at the start of the GFC. So we went from moving 100,000 plus a year to none, as in zip, nothing, finished, 0. And that's around the same time that YouTube started. And then and then someone showed me, hey, look, why don't you start putting content on YouTube I'd just video it with my phone and put it on YouTube. And at the time, there was almost nothing on YouTube about fish because YouTube had just started. And then I'd put something about heaters or something about filters or whatever, and then I'd like search it, and my video came up. That isn't totally true, but there wasn't much on at that time. And then I just kept on doing it. And then at the end of the day, the main reason I did it is because I like doing it. And then I just like video a tank, and then maybe 2 years later, I look at that tank again and go, oh, hey, look at that. I remember what it was like. And I really just enjoyed actually watching my own videos because monetization wasn't really a thing until later on. So I never did it for the money because I didn't even know you could make money out of it. I only did it because I thought it was cool to video a tank so I could look at it later. And then I just talked over the top of it because I like talking about fish. And then it just sort of grew. So I mean, the channel now has got something like 40,000 subscribers, and I think there's something like 8,000 videos on the channel. And there's only 8,000 videos just because I like video. I like looking at them. I just see something, I think it's cool, and I video it. And people always give me advice on what I should do. I don't care. Like I only do it for my own enjoyment. I like looking at my old pixelated videos that I used to put on. I'm like, oh, I remember that tank. Oh yeah, that tank. And
so you're not one of these YouTubers that goes back and looks at their first videos and then goes, oh, why did I do that? Or does that happen sometimes?
No way, because I got no shame. I got some of the best and worst videos you've ever seen. Some of my videos are so crap, but I don't care. Like I only put it up for myself, and if anyone else watches them, that's good. And the other thing I do too is everything's first take, so that's why there'll be like, there'll be might be the odd fart or whatever in there. Nothing's cut out. Everything's first take.
It's real authentic.
Yeah. It's just exactly what I'm doing at exactly that point. Just gonna figure
That's
out
awesome.
I'm just fixing my charger.
No, you're good. I love that. So we started off talking about how you wanted to be a rock star, and then you ended up becoming one in one of the most unlikely ways.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I never even worked that out until an interview similar to this, and I'm like, yeah, I sort of got to live that life. I got to be a drunken idiot, travel the world being a drunken idiot. I mean, like,
well, you got to go and help people to then perform and then get on it and then wake up late. I like it.
It's great fun.
So nowadays, with the rockstar lifestyle, you've taken it to Facebook. I've noticed it quite frequently, and you've got some good costume get-ups.
Yeah, that's once again just my own. Like, I only do that for myself because I find that, because I play a lot of music, and you learn a song, right? And then, like, when you start learning the next song, I forgot the last song. And my memory's so bad. And then I really like playing music. So I learn a song, I learn it perfectly. You play it a few times, and you go, oh, well, now what? So then I video the song, and then later on I look at myself playing and go, hey, look how good I was there. That's good. I can't play that anymore because I've forgotten how to play that song. But and then I started like just wearing stupid clothes while I was doing it. And now, before I do a video, I'll rummage around the house. I'll like find the stupidest things possible to put on, and then I'll play the song. And sometimes I'm almost having trouble not laughing at myself while I'm playing the song. You know what I mean?
How many wigs do you own?
Oh yeah, I have collected them. I've had people donate them to me. I've bought them, but probably about 20. But I just seem to enjoy doing that. Like, I just think it's funny, and I look back on it and I go, I look back on the videos. I go, what a dickhead, like. But I just like it. Otherwise, I can sit there and play guitar, whatever. Or I can just dress up like an idiot and play guitar, because I actually think it's just fun. Like, anyway.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, I've got 14 kids.
14.
No, sorry, 2. I got 2.
And what do they think of your dressing up videos?
Oh, they love it. Like, if you watch some of the videos, if you went to the guitar playlist and you look down them, they're in lots of them. Like, a lot of the videos.
Is that on YouTube as well, is it? I just
So
see
if
it
you
on
go
Facebook.
to on YouTube, if you go to the playlists and you go to the one that says guitar, then you'll see I've got like over 100 videos of me playing guitar. And a lot of them, the kids are like jumping around the background and stuff.
That's awesome.
So the kids are actually in heaps of the videos because it's really hard getting the little bastards to shut up. So instead of that, you just include them in it, you know? And they're jumping around in the background, and like they even take their parts very seriously sometimes. You know, like, I'm going to do this in this song, they say. So you just end up including them in it.
That's awesome. Thirsty Rabbit wants to know what NRL team you support.
Well, I don't really follow sport that much. I mean, obviously I'd have to say the Sydney Swans. I've got a really good memory of the Sydney Swans because do you remember Plucker, who scored more goals than anyone?
Plugger, yeah.
Plugger, that's right. Whatever.
I thought you said plucker, as in like pluck a duck.
I did. I didn't mean to, but I did. Let's just pretend that you couldn't hear me properly. Yeah. Well, my memory of I went and saw the Sydney Swans when he was doing his like 1300th goal or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I was determined to run on the field. So anyway, I ran on the field. I was like one of the first people on the field. And then I'm like, now what do? I launched in the air and I gave him a big slap on his big head. And I was all over the news because like all the team, there was the team like this, right? And then there's just me. I come launching out of nowhere and slap him on the top of the head. And then I was pretty proud of that.
I love it. We're getting a few questions rolling. Melissa, how you doing? Good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. She wants to know your favorite band and song at the moment.
Well, I mean, once again, things don't change much for me. I like the same stuff all the time for some reason. But my top bands are definitely Iron Maiden, definitely Metallica, AC/DC. Yeah, they'd probably be my top 3. I love that sort of music. I love all music, by the way.
Yeah, I'm the same. I grew up mainly on punk, though. So
what would be I would say one of my favorite songs would probably be either Piano Man or Hey Jude. I reckon they're 2 of the best songs ever.
Yeah.
Beatles or Billy Joel. But yeah, I love hard rock music.
Ugly Man's Reefing. Am I on a furniture channel today, or is this a channel about fish keeping? I'm trying to remember when we talked about furniture.
I don't even remember talking about furniture.
Yeah, me either. What's going on? So you've got a lot of fish tanks around you a lot of the time. What have you got at home? What fish do you keep?
Well, to be honest, I've just got like a fighting fish in a bowl.
A what?
Like just a fighting fish in a bowl.
So many people with aquariums don't have any fish at home, though. No.
But I'm not. I mean, I'm actually not at home that much, and then I also live on the bush. So like, I love my birds because I got like in my backyard I got like owls and currawongs and kookaburras and so when I'm at home I sort of love playing with my birds. Like I got ones that I feed them and
feed.
So and if you look on my Facebook, you'll see that I'm always like when any new birds come in my backyard, I always learn about them and stuff. And then if I'm at home, I'm playing a lot of guitar. And then I'm at work so much. I mean, I'm at work now, so I'm just surrounded by fish all day, every day. So
So you don't need it at home.
Yeah. So I mean, I still look at spots and think, oh, it'd be cool if a tank magically appeared there. But I think it's sort of a bit healthy when you've had fish all your life and you work with fish like all day. Then it's probably a little bit healthy not to have them at home. But,
I reckon that's one thing that I thought, like, I really enjoyed doing the YouTube channel from the fish keeping perspective. I was talking to people the other day about getting into some of the equipment and having fun with editing and really trying to be creative and stuff. And now, and also like talking to people like you and learning, as you said earlier, people like, no one wants to talk to me about fish, but all of a sudden you're at a convention and everyone's like, oh, I can talk about my fish and they'll listen and I can listen to their stories. But I'm really conscious of one thing that I thought, if I do YouTube and I'm talking about fish all the time, when is there going to be a point where I go, oh, they're not relaxing anymore? But I haven't hit that yet. But I imagine having how many tanks in the shop? A couple hundred tanks that you might go, I don't want them at home.
Well, to be honest, I haven't really hit that point either. Like, I still love looking at fish.
Yeah,
but
good.
I'm not sure that going home and looking after fish when you do it all day is really wise. And if I went home and looked after fish all day and I stayed at work looking after fish all day, it's probably just not that healthy. But in regards to, I don't think you ever stop loving fish. Like, I think I like fish as much as I ever did. I think you've just got to structure your life around what makes sense.
Yeah, I think absolutely right, and that's why I think different people like different fish, and like some people prefer nano, some people prefer cichlids, some people want to go big, some people just want to get one fish. Yeah, it's funny. I like nano because I don't have a lot of room, and I want to do as much as I can in that tank. Like keep it simple, but I want to have options to be able to try some things. Whereas if I had one big tank, then I wouldn't be able to, have that fish, that fish, that fish, and that fish. So I think that's where multi-tank addiction sort of kicks in, the MTA when you say.
Yeah, I had 17 tanks at one stage at my house.
Yeah.
So, like, you can certainly talk to me about tank addiction. But then once you're a professional, though, and you're doing it like 12 hours a day, then maybe balance is sort of important too, and then you get a family and you get kids and you got to do stuff like make sure the house is functional and make sure that the wife's happy and stuff like that. Be an adult.
That's not fun, that stuff. No, you're absolutely right. I've got like 13 fish tanks. Oh, there was one I wanted to ask about. Now, is your brother's Chris, yeah?
Yeah, as far as I
know. What does he do in the industry? I got a tank sent to me from Dave from Nanotanks Australia, and then Chris was like, "You're welcome." I'm like, "Oh, so he works with Aqua EL or distributors or?"
Oh, see, basically what happened was, so Chris used to travel a lot. He'd go to Japan. He'd go to snowboarding in Canada and stuff. And he was going to be see, his story is a bit different to mine because he used to love playing Sim City. And then so he decided to become a town planner because he thought it was like Sim City. So he thought he was going to he thought it was just like Sim City, but as it turns out, it's actually nothing like Sim City. So he ended up getting a degree in town planning and then figured out, well, it's nothing like Sim City and this isn't what I signed up for at all. And he didn't like town planning. So he'd often, when he was going to uni, he'd end up like working for me at Majestic.
Yep.
And then he went and travelled and snowboarded and he became a semi-professional snowboarder and, in other words, drunk. And so he was overseas, like having a good time. And then he'd come back and work for me, save up money and go back overseas again. That was sort of how he rolled. Do anything except trying to be a clown, except trying to avoid the fact that he was supposed to be a town planner. And then one day he was in my shop and he's like, "Oh, I'd really love to be a rep." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "I'd love to drive around selling things." I go, "Well, okay. Sounds crap to me. But, if that's what you want to do." And then he's like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'd like to be a rep. That'd be cool. If you can drive around stuff, it'd be cool." He thinks I'd drive around and, sell people fish food and stuff. And then when I was overseas, I'd regularly get people come up to me and going, oh, like, what do you think of this product? And then, so what happened was, I said to Chris, I said, oh, well, do you want to be a rep? Well, we'll just start loading you up with products and you can run around and sell stuff. And he's like, oh, that's cool. So the first brand we got was New Life Spectrum. So we got New Life Spectrum and then filled up his garage with it. And then he ran around selling it to everyone. And he's like, oh, this is great. And then next, I think it was Marine Pure next. So I was actually doing a seminar in Chicago. This guy comes up to me because that was around the time of deep sand beds, when deep sand beds were a big thing, because what we were trying to do is harbour denitrifying bacteria parallel to nitrifying bacteria without anoxic bacteria.
Okay.
So then, and we were trying to use plenums and sand beds in order to denitrate our aquarium. And then he comes up to me and goes, well, look, I've spent millions of dollars on this research, and I've come up with this media that offers the perfect surface area to void space to allow the formation of anaerobic bacteria parallel to aerobic bacteria, but you will not get anoxic bacteria, which discharges hydrogen sulfide. And we're like, he goes, is there any application for that in the aquarium world? And I'm like, wow, we've like dreamed about that. Anyway,
Yep.
So then I ended up importing Marine Pure into Australia. Well, my brother did, because I hooked him up type thing.
Yep.
And then I think next we started doing polyfilter, because I'd remembered from back in the St. George days how amazing polyfilter was. You just chuck it in a tank and the tank just becomes amazing. It just removes everything you don't want from the aquarium and doesn't remove anything you do want. It changes color to tell you what it's removing. It turns to black to tell you it's finished. It's just amazing stuff. So then I arranged that for him to sell that. And then and my wife's Polish, so I've spent a fair bit of time over in Poland. And then we saw how good all the Aquarel products are. So we started bringing in the Aquarel products. Then we started bringing in Universal Rock. Then, we slowly got more and more and more and more brands. So because I've been out in the world, and people come up to me going, hey, look, and we do JBL as well. So people come up to me and they're like, hey, what do you think of this product? Whatever. Or do you know how I could sell this in Australia? So he became the guy that I'd sort of tip off. And then we've got a big warehouse that he runs. And then, so I'm very much involved in what products he gets, but
Yep.
he very much runs, he runs the business. It's his business,
So what's the business called?
Aqua Premium.
Yeah, I think Melissa said it before, and I was like, yeah, I think that rings a bell. I'm a sales rep, and that's the sort of thing that I like always think about and going, what would be something that I would be good at in the industry? And I'm like, if I take this skill set into the industry, that's the sort of thing that I could see being a good fit. Whether it's what happens with me in the long run, I don't know, but I can see.
Maybe you got to ring Chris one day.
Yeah, I'll give him a ring. We're not allowed to go visit any customers at the moment anyway. So, is there anything that's sort of coming up that you're looking forward to that we can sort of look out for on Facebook or on the YouTube channel?
Well, I mean, the YouTube channel, we've been doing a fair few Q&As lately on Facebook.
Yes.
And they've been like super popular. Like, I can't believe how popular they've been.
I think I was in the first one, but I think you've done one since that I've missed. But yeah, there was just a lot of people there.
Yeah, I've done a few, and I've done a few now. So we did the ADA one with George. We did I've done a couple of the Reef Aquarium ones myself. But the amount of viewers are like hundreds of thousands. It's pretty phenomenal, because I think people have like watch parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And we have, I can't believe the response. It's been like really, really, really big. So we'll keep doing that. That's been popular.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of that, there's 24 people here. Thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. It's absolutely awesome to see you all there. Yeah, that's cool. So that's funny, though. So why do you think it's so big on Facebook, like as opposed to YouTube? Because right now I could do both, but if I do it, Facebook doesn't seem to really give us much pull.
Well, I don't know. I think because I do it on Facebook, and then I think, I've shared it with various groups, and I don't know. I've never done it on YouTube, by the way, but I think that just maybe I've got a pretty large base there to share it with.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got like a few Facebook groups. I've got several Facebook pages. So by the time you share it amongst all my groups, and so tens of thousands of people are seeing it, and then I go and share it in other groups that I'm in, and then I'm pretty well known. Like most people know who I am. So I don't know. It's been surprisingly popular, really.
It's very awesome. You're
just asking lots of questions and really getting involved. And I sort of the main thing I try to do with all of my content is focus on answering the questions so someone can understand it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. You sort of came back a bit for a second there, though.
You're cracking up.
Sounds like there's gremlins in the microphone. No, it sounds like you're underwater. Do you want to try and disconnect and reconnect? There's only probably 10 minutes left anyway. If it doesn't work, I'll send you a message.
Well, here's static.
Try this. Oh, I'm judging by watching the fish. If the fish are moving. He jumped in the shark tank. That's right. Do you want to try disconnect and reconnect if that works? Or if it doesn't work, I'll message you because it's been amazing having you on here anyway.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear me, I don't think. I'll message him. This. Oh, I can't even spell. I'll send a message through there. We'll try and see if this does anything for a second. It's weird how it was working so well and then all of a sudden stopped, isn't it? Stop laughing, Zane. Oh. Now, see, now I try and bring him back up. I've got nothing. All right, let me. I don't want to. Remember that Thursday when we did a live stream together and I booted you off as a joke and then you had to sit on the sidelines for the whole stream because it wouldn't let you back in? Don't want to do that. I'll, at the risk of repeating myself, if we do get Paul back, it's been awesome having him here. And I think Chevy just left and said I could sit here and listen to Paul's stories all night, but I've got to get up really early. My sentiments exactly. It's been a lot of fun having a chat. It's what the Aquamate experience is about. It's trying to learn where everyone comes from and hear everyone's stories. Let me know actually if I did like a little bit of a rehash or something and just spoke about what the Aquamate experience was and went through the stories, like maybe a little bit of a best of, because we've got people coming from all over the world, all different backgrounds, and YouTubers, aquascapers, fish store owners. It's really, really cool to hear everybody's stories. So yeah, if you think it'd be fun to put something together, let me know, because I know an hour can be a long time for some people, but if I did something in like a 10, 15-minute video, Probably wouldn't be able to fit everything, would I? All right. Fill time by telling people I won't be streaming tomorrow, Josh. Dr. Black won't be streaming tomorrow, Josh. What do you mean you're not streaming? It's going to be the 50th episode. I was going to try and pump it up. So obviously you're not. So that would mean in another 8 days, Dr. Black will be doing his 50th Have a Beverage with Blackie on Wednesdays during lunch. All right, let's try this again. You're there. Sounds not promising. It's gone off. If you can hear me, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. We'll have to redo this one day. Where are we? Yeah, it's definitely not. I'm just getting a bit of reverb from my side that it spilled red on the mic. Try moving. Yeah, I think 50 episodes is something to be proud of, Blackie. It's a very good effort. What else can I say? Well, I love how I joined the stream and it's ending. We're having a few technical issues, Bodgy. Tomorrow, what have I done? I've worked on like 6 videos at the moment, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff to come out for you guys, which hopefully you're looking forward to. Tomorrow we are going to have a video. I got sent something from South Australia that I'm having a second attempt at keeping, so you'll be able to see that. 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, that'll come out. And I won something a little while ago, so I made a little video. I'll probably put that out on the weekend on the Saturday. And then Thursday, Dr. Blake, are we going to be catching up on Sunday for our morning stream? Bit of hit and giggle. You'll always be down in the F zone, Bodgy. So everyone's blaming Bodgy for what's gone wrong. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sorry that it ended this way. I'll message Paul and say thank you, because that was a really enjoyable hour and a lot of knowledge could have kept going. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to pick up where it left off and do another episode in the future. Definitely can't wait to get to that aquarium when all this bans and COVID goes away, or we can actually leave the state. And I want to look at that 20,000 litre shark tank. It's crazy. But I hope you all have a really good night. Thank you very much. Now the Bodgy's here, we better go. And stay safe, everybody. We'll catch up with you guys on Sunday morning with a couple of the other Aussie YouTubers. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, yeah, there's a few videos coming out this week. So trying to give a little bit more content on the channel. Oh, and we hit 1,500 subscribers. Yay. That was a bit of a bit of a milestone that Blake will know that I kept messaging him going, I'm just going backwards because I just got stuck for a little while. So that was something cool to celebrate. Thanks for all your support. I hope you all stay safe. Have a great night. I'll see you all real soon.